Thank you.
Thanks. So, good morning, everybody. My name is Wojciech Patelka, and I'm a QA tester at STX Next. So the purpose of today's presentation is describing the process of keeping quality within the project I work in. So short brief about the application we develop. So basically, it's related to marketing implementation. So main features of the application is uploading assets with appropriate metadata, keeping the process of approvals, and maintaining marketing campaigns. So the agenda is as follows. So first, I will say a few words about automated and manual tests. Then I will briefly describe the situation within the project. And then I will move on to the integration of automated tests with TestRail. Finally, I will summarize the pros and cons of this solution. And at the end, there will be some time to ask questions. So what are automated tests? As most of you probably know, we have two types of tests, so manual and automated tests. So basically, manual tests are for manual testers. So we need to, as manual tester, we need to manually verify that the code is doing what it's supposed to do. Manual testers need to track their findings. And basically, this is a very time-consuming process. With lots of repetitive actions, and honestly, it's boring from time to time. And automated tests are basically automated. So every single action that we can do manual, we can program using appropriate automated tool. So in this presentation, I will focus only on behave tests in our project. It doesn't mean that these are only automated tests in our project, because, for example, if we merge every single pull request to the master branch, the unit tests are triggered in continuous integration tool. But I will all focus only on behave. So the definition of BDD, so behavior-driven development, this is a technique in agile software development that allows people who are not technical to understand what is tested. So behave uses tests written in a natural language style. We are using Gherkin in our project, and this is backed up by Python code. We are using TestRail tools, so this is a pretty fancy stuff to manage the whole test case database. A long time ago, we were using, for example, Google Docs, so that was pretty hard to manage. And at this time, we have modern test case management. So, for example, we can efficiently manage test cases, test plans, and test runs. So short description of this. So we have test plans. So doing the gradation at the top level, we have test plan. Then we have test runs. So, for example, we can add the test run related to particular module of the application, and this is multiplied by, for example, browsers that we want to test. And at the lower level, we have test cases, so the unique test case related to particular feature. It boosts testing productivity because, for example, if you want to verify the one module of application, or we want to test the whole milestone, we can easily filter the test cases. And TestRail is fully customizable, so if we want to have particular checkboxes, dropdowns, etc., so we can fully configure it for our demands. We get real-time insights into your testing progress, so business analysts, product owners can easily verify the progress of tests at any time. It integrates with your issue tracker. We are using Jira in our project. So, for example, if business analyst wants to verify what was the feature behind the test case he wants to verify, he gets a reference and easily verify what is he testing, what is he verifying. And we can progress prediction using burn down charts, so we can easily verify in the middle of regression week, for example, how much effort do we need to take to finish the testing. So this is the example look of TestRail. So we can see a particular test plan. We can see pie chart, a bunch of tests with appropriate status. So that's basically all that we need to know at the moment. So the situation within the project. So the problems we had to face during the development of the application. So let's get back over 1 year in our project. Okay, so the problem that we had to face. So over 1 year ago, we were creating two test plans for manual and automated tests. And the second one, so the automated, were fully maintained by developers. So we were running a bunch of test scenarios written in Behave. But we had to manually tick all of the examples, all of the results within TestRail. And all of the issues related to Python, Behave, or Selenium were also maintained by developers. This was causing some problems because testers were not fully aware what we are testing exactly and how the automated tests are working. And furthermore, we have quite sophisticated applications, so we have lots of different users, lots of different workflows, so it was hard to testers to manually verify all of the examples. So we've come up with the solution. So we wanted to pass full responsibility for maintaining automated tests to QAs. We wanted to create a one-to-one relation between Behave scenario and test cases within TestRail. So we had lots of scenarios in Behave, so written in code, but we didn't have the matches within TestRail. So we wanted to ensure that every single scenario which is in Behave will have the reference in TestRail. And the main clue of the integration was to automatically pass the results from Behave runs to TestRail. So from this moment, we didn't have to manually take every single result in TestRail because that was causing some problems. Developers had to manually verify the logs, and then if we have, for example, uploading 50 files and they are only differentiated by extension, it was causing some problems and was really time-consuming. So if the status of the test is failed, we wanted to paste traceback into the comments. So then we will see the exact problem why the test is failed. And we've created templates for manual and automated regression tests as test plans. So every single regression, we don't need to manually pick every single test scenarios we want to verify. We're just copying the template and adding the features that we developed within the sprint. Sorry for that. Okay, so the integration itself, so sending scenarios results to TestRail. Okay, so the implementation goes through TestRail API. So first of all, so before every feature that we are testing, we wanted to verify the status of this test in test plan. We want to skip the test if the status is passed. So for example, if we are rerunning the whole scenario and let's say 80% of the tests are passed, we don't want to run them once again. Another way, run the test once again. So if the status is failed or retest, we want to rerun the test and paste the tracebacks into the comments. We want to differentiate the test plan and test run. So this is something I was mentioning previously. So we don't want to run the whole test plan. So let's say the whole milestone. We might just run the test run related for example, one browser. So verify the browser that we are testing. During the regression test in our project, we're using Chrome and IE11, so we needed to specify this. We've also wanted to map existing scenarios with TestRail's ID, so rewriting basically all of the features that we had previously to match the TestRail's test cases. And add logging to Behave. So for example, if I'm running a particular test run, I want to know that some of the scenarios were already passed and they are skipped within terminal. Okay, so we've added 3 arguments to the behave command. So the first one is the plan ID or run ID. So basically this is the ID from the URL from TestRail, from the scenario, from the test plan we have created. The browser, so in our project this is either Chrome or IE11, and behave browser, so for example if you want to run the tests on external machine, for example on Windows 7 with IE11 and Selenium configured, we need to put the IP address of this machine. So this is how it looks in the terminal. So underline we can see that we have specified plan ID, the browser and the IP of the machine. We can see that this is the feature related to uploading assets. So we can see that we're logging in as test campaign manager. And we can see the output that the 2 scenarios actually are passed. So they are not rerun once again. And this is the screenshot from TestRail. So this is particular test case for a particular test run. And we can see that we have three fails. So from the bottom we have stack trace copied directly from terminal. And above it we can see that something went wrong with the application. We can see internal server error. So every single result, every single problem which we can see in the console is pasted directly to TestRail comment with the appropriate status, so retest. So the improvements during over the years. So we wanted to simplify the test scenarios using Gherkin instead of natural language. So just to keep the same values in behave scenarios and TestRail. We wanted to prepare short and long time scenarios. So for example, if we can imagine the registration form. During the development, we can just run the short smoke tests, which verifies if user can fill the form and trigger proper validation. And during the long-time scenarios, which are run during the regression tests, we can verify all of the relations between drop-downs, etc. And we wanted to ensure full coverage of application, of course, the areas which are worth to automate. Okay, so this is the example test case within TestRail. So we can see a bunch of information like type of the test, the priority. We can filter all of the tests that are automated. We can see the release, and this is just pasted Gherkin from Behave. And we can see that there is case ID, which is like a unique value, so we can differentiate the result where it should be put. And this is how it looks within Behave. So we can see that there is a file transfer feature. So we are logging as 6 users. So this is the table at the bottom. And in every single scenario, we can see that case ID, this is the unique value. So we are putting the results, the proper tests in TestRail. Okay, so after a year, we fully passed the responsibility of maintaining tests, both manual and automated to QAs. We are ensuring one-to-one relation between Behave scenarios and test cases just to keep clean code both in Behave repository and TestRail. And of course, for example, if we didn't have to manually upload 50 files with different extensions, we just spend some time to write the automated tests and just verify the TestRail results after a while. So we were gaining knowledge in lots of different stuff around. Okay, so the benefits. So the pros and cons of this implementation. Okay, so writing tests is fun. Instead of manually clicking through the application, we can just write the tests and spend time to verify other parts of application or other aspects of application. So for example, instead of manually uploading lots of files, we can focus on, for example, security issues. so it saves a lot of times, especially during the regression testing. It vastly increases test coverage, so we've seen the scenario outlined, so 6 users were placed at the bottom. So in further development, we can just paste another user, for example, and quickly increase the test coverage. It improves accuracy and stability. Automation does what manual testing cannot, and by that I mean, for example, the uploads, which is very time-consuming. Optimally, one of the QAs is responsible for automated tests. So let's say we have like a guardian within the team which is responsible for maintaining the whole repository. It doesn't mean that the developers are not checking the code. So it's not only on QAs because developers are doing the code review. Full reporting in TestRail, which can lead to established quality measure. This is pretty cool feature because, for example, we can prepare sample reports for business analysts, let's say. So we can measure every single regression or every single development sprint what was the measures of quality. So full transparency, this is also cool because business analysts can easily verify what we are testing, when we are testing this, and using Gherkin, language which is syntax which is understandable for people that are non-technical, they can really easily verify at which moment we are and what we are exactly testing. Manual tests can be rearranged so we can focus on other parts of application instead of manually uploading lots of files. And it's easy scalable in further development, so we can reuse the code we've already written and in other features. Okay, some disadvantages. So the cost of implementation at the beginning, and by that I mean preparing the background or of whole Behave repository. Not 100% reliable, so we cannot be 100% sure that the automated tests are doing exactly what we want. So for example, if we have a button on page and the style is different than we expected, so Behave will find the button and will click it and will be properly redirected to another page, but the style is broken. So there are some disadvantages of that. And time consuming to spin off, so we needed to spend quite long time in terms of creating the API calls to TestRail, verify if they're working properly, and of course almost rewrite the whole repository with the relation to particular test cases. So going to the end, suggestions for other teams and clients. So the first major point is the increased morale of testers. So basically, we are highly motivated because instead of manually clicking, we can do lots of different stuff, which is pretty cool. For example, security issues, writing the tests, and for example, configuring environments. Non-technical people can engage in testing process. This is something I've mentioned previously, so business analysts can easily verify what we are testing and where are we at particular time. Full transparency between the development team and stakeholders. This is also cool because when we have a situation, so let's say client doesn't want to create automated tests because he's not fully aware what will be done there, we can easily give him access to TestRail. So at any time he sees everything without any additional notes. Return on investment factor is quite low at the beginning, but it increases with time. So we need to convince the client that at the beginning we won't have much coverage, but with the time we will be able to cover, let's say, almost the whole application. And in our project, basically, at the moment, the only bugs we are finding are related to Sentry-like tool. So the backend issues we are not seeing within the application, and increased control of the quality process. So it's self-explanatory. Okay, so thank you for your time. I guess we have some time for questions.
Yeah, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. I will give you the microphone. Yeah, here.
Hello. Actually, I have two questions. First one, let me paraphrase what I understood. So you keep test also on the TestRail, but code needs to have body written in German language also in the repository. Do you have those tests or body of this test duplicated in both places? How do you keep them in sync?
So basically, we need to manually copy them. So like basically, there is the only thing we need is the case ID. So this is the unique value which relates from behave to TestRail. We don't have to have the same code within TestRail, but some of the stuff we are testing manually and automatically. So we didn't want to copy those test cases, so we will have like the first one is automated and the second one is manual, so we are keeping the same code into places.
Okay, and second question, how do you handle branches? Because sometimes, for example, there is a new feature and some test needs to be rewritten and kept for some time in alternative version. How do you handle branches?
Well, actually, we had this issue some time ago. So we were creating different type of workflow, and we were not sure if this will be built on production, let's say. So we have one repository with tags. So, for example, we have legacy stacks. So these are the tests that are in the version 1.0, let's say, and we were trying to build the second version, and we were not sure if we will develop it and push it to the production because client was not aware of that. So we were using, for example, tags. So we can just add an additional tag to behave run. So let's say legacy, and we were able to run the tests on legacy stack. And if we wanted to do the new features, so we were creating new tags and using the new code.
Hi, I have a question about issue tracker integration. What do you allow to do for product owner? What is he available to see, and do he have any actions to make, like run the tests or something?
Well, actually, our product owner doesn't run the tests, but for example, during the regression week, he can just verify which tests are failed. So he gets reference for the feature in Jira. So he can basically verify what was the whole feature and verify why this particular scenario failed. So we get full reference. So I'm not sure if that answers your question. Yeah. Okay.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you, Wojtek.
Okay, thank you for attention.